Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to cover how to import a Xreference title block into your project. So right now I have my title block project open and I also have my actual project file open. Okay, so a quick way to cycle through all your projects that are open on AutoCAD is you can hit Control and Tab and this will cycle through all your projects. Okay. Um, Now, before we begin, you need to have a title block set up. Okay, and this one is set up at A3. So we're gonna Xreference this file, and we're gonna drop it into this project. Yep. So in AutoCAD, there are two main areas. There's the paper space, and then there's the model space. So over here, we're in the model space, and we know because this tab is checked. And in the model space, that's where you're going to do all your drawings, okay, your actual lines. And in the paper space, which is the next tab over here, I think they also call it layout tab, but I've actually renamed it to drawing number 1. But in this layout tab, if I click on it, so this will show me basically a piece of paper, okay. So I'm going to drop in my title block in this area. And that dotted line represents what is essentially the printable area. Okay, so to check the size of my paper, I can right click on the drawing tab, the layout tab, and I can click on Page Setup Manager. So in the Page Setup Manager, I can go to Modify, and this should show me all the information of my page. Okay, so it's saying that my plotter is going to be at PDF, my paper size is A3, my plot area is the entire layout, yeah, and my scale is at 1:1. So that's all fine. So I'm going to hit OK and close. So now I know that this piece of paper is set up to A3. Yep. So the next step is I want to basically make I want to make a couple of reference lines so that I can find the midpoint of this page. Because the problem is we can't actually snap to anything. Okay, these are just indicative lines. So if I were to draw a line, there's actually nothing to snap to. So in order to find the midpoint of this, basically I'm just going to draw a line from the top to bottom and from left to right. So I'm going to zoom in on this printable area and I'm just going to draw a line. So L spacebar, and I can toggle F8. So snap to the orthographic mode, and then I'm going to zoom in and click again. So escape, and then I'm going to do it another one from left to right. So as accurate as I can. It's kind of just eyeballing it. So I created L spacebar, and then I'm going and I'm clicking up to this line. Yeah. So I should be able to find the middle point of this line. Let me just extend the line here. And the middle point of this line, which is over here. I know it's the midpoint because I can see this triangle. Okay, and if I just leave my cursor on top of it, it'll actually say midpoint. So I'll extend that line too. Okay, so the next step is to actually Xreference your title block. So you go XR spacebar, and then you go to this little arrow and attach DWG. Okay, so automatically it goes into my Xreference folder, and in my Xreference folder I have my title block. So I'm going to hit my title block file and then press open. Okay, so the only thing you really need to consider is a reference type. Now there's a lot of online documentation on the difference between reference type, between attachment and overlay. For this case I'm going to use overlay. I think it's a little bit difficult to explain, so I would recommend just having a look at some of the articles to find out the difference. So for this case I'm going to use overlay and the path type relative, and then hit OK. And you can see my title block has been loaded in to my external references. So I can click the cross, and you can see I've dropped in my title block. So I just selected it just now and M spacebar. So I'm just going to move it. Yeah. So I'm gonna place this title block in the middle of the page. So let me just select it again. So I select it and M spacebar for move. I'm gonna find the midpoint of that line and I'm gonna snap it to the midpoint. Well, I mean to this line. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna hit M spacebar, find the midpoint of the paper. Of the title block, sorry. So select on that midpoint and then move it down to here. Okay. So now I should have a fairly, basically, I've kind of made it as accurate as I can so that it's centered, so that the title block is centered in the page. Okay, so I can get rid of these guidelines by selecting it and E spacebar. Okay, so this should be a roughly equal distance. Yeah, it just makes your drawing much more tidier if everything is kind of spaced, centered. So that's pretty much it. So the next step is to actually make some model views on the sheet. So what I mean by creating model view is we're going to actually get this view from the model space and then put it into our paper space. So I can hit MV spacebar and then I'll just drag a rectangle. Okay. So once I select it, I can change the scale over here to, let's just say, 1 to 100. Yep. So that's essentially how you change the scale. You just go down here. It's pretty easy. And that's it. One thing to bear in mind when you right now, if you notice, this M view, this model view, is actually on my 0 layer. So if I were to print, so if I go Control P and if I go Preview, you can actually see this rectangle line. Okay, the border. If I don't want to see that, I just hit Escape. So cancel. If I don't want to see that, I can select it and I can change it to my def points layer. So this is a standard layer that basically if you don't want the line to print, you put anything on your def points layer. So I'll hit Control P again, and if I go to preview, you'll notice that my triangle is gone. I mean, not my triangle, my rectangle. Yeah? So it's up to you. If you want to see the border, you can keep it on your 0 layer. If you want to not see it, just put it on your def points layer. Yeah. So escape and cancel. So yep, that's it. If you want to create this a copy of this page, you can right click and go to move or copy and move to end, create a copy, and you press OK. So essentially you're just creating another drawing. Okay, so you can rename this. Let's rename it drawing number 2. Okay, so that's how you pretty much start laying out all your pages for your project. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.